Ever wanted to see the world like an economist does? Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're unpacking the 10 big ideas that basically form the foundation of economics. Once you get these, you'll have a brand new lens to see everything. Let's dive in.
But first, let me throw a little puzzle at you. Why on earth do airlines charge you less for a flight if you just happen to stay over a Saturday night? I mean, it seems totally random, right? Well, it's not, and I promise by the end of this, the answer will be crystal clear.
I love this quote from the economist Alfred Marshall, because really, that's what this is all about. Economics isn't some scary, abstract science full of charts and numbers. Nope, it's really just the study of people, of us, making choices in our everyday lives.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to tackle this in 3 parts. First, we're going to zoom way in on the individual, how you make decisions. Then, we'll pull back a bit to see how we all interact with each other. And finally, we'll go for the panoramic view and look at how the whole economy works as a system.
All right, let's get into it. Part 1, the economics of you. These first 4 principles are all about the decisions you make every single day, whether you realize it or not. So principle number 1 is probably the most famous saying in all of economics. There's no such thing as a free lunch. To get one thing that you want, you almost always have to give up something else. It's that simple. A student can't study for an exam and binge watch a new series at the exact same time. A government can't spend the same dollar on healthcare and national defense. Every single choice we make is a trade-off.
Okay, so if every decision involves a trade-off, that means we're constantly comparing the costs and benefits of our choices. But, and this is a huge but, the cost of something isn't just the price tag. And that brings us to one of the most critical ideas we're going to talk about today, opportunity cost.
So what is the true cost of any choice you make? It's the opportunity cost. It's the value of whatever you had to give up to get it, the next best thing you could have done. Think about going to college. The cost isn't just the tuition and books, it's also the 4 years of salary you could have been earning. That foregone income, that's a massive part of the real cost.
So, let's bring this right home to you, right now. What's the real cost of you watching this explainer? Well, it's not zero. The opportunity cost is whatever else you would be doing with this time. Napping, working, calling a friend. Whatever that next best thing is for you, that's the real price you're paying.
Okay, principle 3 sounds a little academic, but stick with me because it's actually how we all think. It says that rational people think at the margin. You know, life is rarely about black or white, all or nothing decisions. Most of the time, we're making small adjustments. We're thinking on the edge. Should I study for 1 more hour? Should I eat 1 more cookie? We instinctively weigh the extra benefit against the extra cost. And that right there solves our airline puzzle. An airline might have an average cost of, say, $500 to fly a passenger. But once that plane is about to take off with empty seats, the marginal cost, the cost of adding 1 more person, is basically nothing. Just a drink and a bag of peanuts. So if they can sell that seat for $300, even though it's below the average cost, it's still pure profit on the margin. It's a rational choice. This one is huge. It's absolutely central to, well, pretty much all of economics. People respond to incentives. Simple as that. An incentive is just anything that motivates you to act, like a reward or a punishment. If the price of gas goes way up, people start looking at electric cars. That's an incentive at work. If you want to understand why people do what they do, you've got to look at the incentives they're facing. Okay, that covers the individual. Now let's zoom out to our second section and see how things get interesting when we all start interacting with each other. This is about the economics of us.
You hear a lot in the news about countries competing with each other in trade, as if one side has to win and the other has to lose. But in economics, that's just not how it works. Trade is not a zero-sum game. Think about it this way. Imagine 2 roommates. One is a fantastic cook, but is really slow at cleaning. The other is a super fast cleaner, but can barely make toast. If they each try to do everything themselves, it's going to be a mess. But if the cook just focuses on making amazing dinners and the cleaner just focuses on keeping the place spotless, what happens? They both get to eat better food in a cleaner apartment and probably have more free time. By specializing in trading, they are both way better off. And that's true for families, companies, and countries too.
So, if we're all trading and interacting, how do we organize this whole shebang? For a long time, the big debate was between 2 systems: central planning, where a government authority makes all the decisions, versus a market economy, where millions of different people and businesses make their own decisions. And well, history has pretty clearly shown us which one is better at creating prosperity.
And that brings us to Principle 6. Markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. The father of modern economics, Adam Smith, had this incredible insight. He said that when all of us, households, businesses, act in our own self-interest, we're guided by what he called an invisible hand, to an outcome that's often good for everyone. The baker doesn't bake your bread because he loves you. He does it to earn a living. But in the process of looking out for himself, he provides you with the bread you want. It's a beautiful, powerful idea.
Now that invisible hand is pretty amazing, but it's not infallible. Sometimes markets mess up. This is called a market failure. A classic example is pollution. A factory might make a product you want, but in the process, it pollutes the local river. That's a cost that society pays, but the factory doesn't. In cases like that, or to make things more fair, a well-designed government policy can step in and improve the outcome. The key word there, of course, is sometimes.
All right, time for our final act. We are now zooming all the way out to the macro level. These last 3 principles are about the forces that shape the entire economy. Why are some countries incredibly wealthy while others are tragically poor? I mean, the differences in living standards across the globe are just staggering. And the answer, when you boil it all down, is surprisingly simple. It's productivity. That's it. A country's standard of living depends almost entirely on its ability to produce goods and services. The more a worker can produce in an hour, the more that country can enjoy. It's really all about productivity.
What about inflation? You know, that feeling when your money just doesn't seem to stretch as far as it used to? What causes that? Well, in almost every case of sustained high inflation, there's one single culprit: the government printing too much money. When there's a huge increase in the amount of money floating around, but the amount of stuff to buy stays the same, the value of that money has to fall. Too many dollars chasing too few goods, prices have nowhere to go but up.
Okay, our final principle gets a little bit more complex, and it's a hot topic of debate among policymakers. In the short run, and I'm talking a year or two, there's often a trade-off between inflation and unemployment. Policies that stimulate the economy, like pumping more money into it, can lead businesses to hire more people, which lowers unemployment. But as we just learned, that same policy can also lead to higher prices, more inflation. Navigating this short-run trade-off is one of the toughest challenges governments face.
And there you have it, the 10 principles. But please, don't think of this as just a list of facts to memorize. Think of it as a new toolkit, a powerful set of lenses that you can now use to see the world in a much clearer way.
So let's run through that toolkit one last time, super quick. 1. We all face trade-offs. 2. The real cost is opportunity cost. 3. We think at the margin. 4. We respond to incentives. 5. Trade makes us better off. 6. Markets work, usually. 7. Governments can sometimes help. 8. Productivity is key to our standard of living. 9. Too much money causes inflation. And 10. There's a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment.
From the price of your coffee to why you chose to spend your time watching this, it's all economics. These principles are working all around you, all the time. So the only question left is, now that you have the toolkit, what are you going to analyze first?